Woo-wee, man, the internet cruising community is abuzz because Carnival Cruise Line is talking about forced tipping. This one's pretty juicy. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I am your host, really, for all things cruising. I'm happy to talk about that cruise life in any form, whether I'm out there making travel videos or chopping up the news or talking about the latest juicy cruise drama. And boy, man, I feel like I'm salivating over this one. There is an explosion of social media, Carnival social media, over there on brand ambassador John Heald's Facebook page, as he has addressed rumors about forced cruise ship tipping. Now, if you've been cruising just a short amount of time, you may not be privy to this, but if you've been cruising a long period of time, you know that there's nothing more able to get the backs up of some cruisers than this conversation of a forced gratuity. Let's just go to the tape, Johnny. Look, yesterday was my birthday and I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about when I woke up this morning. So I feel like I got a late birthday gift. I guess it happened. This conversation happened on my birthday. So I guess I got a late birthday gift from the lovely Carnival brand ambassador, John Heald. Let's just read how it went down in Funky Town. And look, we're going to talk cruise ship tipping, but I also have another little tidbit of drama that we're going to talk about after that has to do with who should be allowed to participate in cruise ship karaoke. I just don't think you can make some of this stuff up. But here's the message from John Heald. And I feel like in this message is an invitation to me particularly. That's why I think it was a birthday gift. Here's the message. John, I was startled to see your comment on your video you did on the Carnival Mardi Gras. If you stop your customers having the right to remove all gratuities, then you would see an exodus like never before. I don't concern myself about what the staff makes, how gratuities are divided up, or their workload. That's between the employee and the employer. If I feel occasionally that someone deserves a gratuity, I'll give it to them. If not, then I will not. It's our choice. It is not the cruise line to take away. So for the unaware or the uninitiated, for somebody that's never had to deal with this before, the way the tipping works on the major cruise lines is those major cruise lines have decided that instead of you determining how much you should tip and how you're going to give that tip, they're going to help you out. They're just going to charge you a tip on a daily basis. Carnival, for example, has decided for their non-suite staterooms like interiors, balconies, ocean views, that every person in that cabin should tip $16 to the people that are giving them service. And like I said, for your convenience and taking you kind of out of the decision-making process, they're just going to charge the $16 to your onboard account. It's just gonna be charged every day, $16 per person. And as you can imagine, some people, they don't like that. They don't want the cruise line saying, you're gonna tell me how much I have to tip. What if I don't want to tip $16? What if I want to tip more than $16? What if I want to tip less than $16? What if I don't want to tip at all? Well, under the current system for most of the major cruise lines, people that don't like the fact that their tips have been decided for them or that their tips have been automatically charged to them, they have options. They can go to customer service of the major cruise lines and say, take those charges off. I'm not going to pay those charges. How dare you? How dare you assign those charges to me? That's the way it works right now. But could you imagine a scenario where that wasn't the case, where the cruise line got to determine how much you tipped and then there was nothing that you could do about it? That's where the hubbub is. That's where the original poster, that's the rub. Now, before I jump into John's response, let me say this. There are people out there that will go on a cruise and refuse to tip tipped employees. They say, look, this person took the job and they knew that they were going to be a tipped employee, but I didn't agree that I would tip them. And so if I don't tip them, that's on them for taking a job. Now, I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. I am knowingly going into an environment where people are working for tips. I feel like the onus is on me. If I don't want to tip people that I know are working for tips, well, then I shouldn't go into that environment. And look, I don't like the system. I just want to say that. I've said that before. I don't like the system. I don't like to be a part of some sort of labor dispute. Very much like the original poster here. I would rather just go on a cruise, pay my one price, and everything be included. But I'm not naive to the fact that that's not the way it works. And so, if you're, I just don't understand people that want to punish the employee because they don't like the way that the employer has set up the system. You're not sticking it to the man by shorting the person that's working to send money back home. I feel like that's just a really low thing to do, to go into an environment where somebody is working for tips and then do not tip. Now, it's certainly a different thing between whether or not somebody should force you to tip or whether you make that decision willfully and you decide the numbers. But there are some outliers out there that are not going to tip at all. And I think those people are way out of line. And look, a lot of times we look at these posts of John Hill and we think, oh, these are just one-off people being kooky. But I know when it comes to this assigned gratuity, that is not the case. I've talked to a lot of people that don't like assigned gratuities. You can just kind of, spy out what's going on at customer service the last couple nights of the cruise. There's always long lines of people. My assumption is that some of those people are removing their assigned gratuities. But so John Hield responds, and really this is where he gives me a gift, which I appreciate, and thank you, John. He says this: well, honestly, I do not remember saying anything about this, and before I continue, let me say to the people on cruise news blogs and websites that there are no plans to change anything. Of course, when I hear John Hield saying, cruise news people, blah, 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 you know what I'm actually hearing in my head? I think John's inviting me to make a super clicky title. I think this is going to be one of those posts where there's at least one or two people that are like, this is clickbait, even though it's exactly true what the title says. Carnival talks forced tipping. They're talking about it. It's true. Save a lot of those clickbait comments under a file that's called Wrong Guesser. Wrong guesser. I guessed wrong what you meant. That one's for you, John. I hope you enjoyed the thumbnail if you're watching this. He continues, we are always, the crew are always so very grateful for all of our wonderful guests do for them. So I think he's saying there that everybody's grateful when they get the tips. He continues on, many of the people who do remove their gratuities give the same amount or more in cash, but yep, like this lady, some do not. If they have a legitimate reason to give nothing, then of course they should not. But, well, it would be dishonest of me not to say that it makes me sad to read this and to see people remove their gratuities and give the crew who have given their all nothing. Nothing. The point that he's making there is obviously there's people out there that remove their gratuities and give zero. They give zero to an employee. That part of their compensation comes from tipping. But I just want people to know that there are people out there expecting your gratuity. So when you're deciding to not pay people for the work that they're doing, that you should be fully informed. That's what I'm saying. Of course, you can tell which side I'm on. So like that or not like that, I just think it's not a cool thing to do, to knowingly go somewhere where there are tipped employees and refuse to tip them. That's just me. I really do wish there was a different system in place where none of the employees on the cruise ship were tipped employees, where people weren't looking for tips, where I could just pay one price and go and enjoy my vacation. But that ain't the system we got right now. What say ye? Should cruise lines force people to tip? Should they include it in the price? Should people be left to do what they want to do? Now, just another little piece of cruising drama that was posted onto John Hild's Facebook wall before we duck out of here. Here's another message. If it's immediately clear that someone doing karaoke can't sing for for nothing, then the Fun Squad person should terminate their performance after one verse. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that you're like there with the microphone, you're reading the screen? Wise men say only... Hey, what the heck happened? You suck! Get off the stage! I think the original poster has a severe misunderstanding of karaoke. Karaoke, what's it mean in Japanese? Hold on. Well, that translation helped nothing. Karaoke means empty orchestra. I don't know. We'd have to do some gymnastics to say that meant that it's not for professional singers. Regardless, I think we all know that karaoke is for the enthusiastic. It's not reserved for the best singers. So to the original poster, I say move on. Go watch a performance somewhere else by a professional if that's your bag, but leave us amateur singers alone. How about that? Thank you guys so much for checking out today's episode. Hope you're having a fantastic life out there. Subscribe for more. Hit that like button. It's Tony for La Lido Loca. Till the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Only fools rush in.